Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going with a bit of a different intro today because I have apparently been summoned. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, people are already beginning to see the similarities between me, Bloody Mary, and some could say Voldemort himself. Because every time you end up mentioning my name, be it a CC or a tweet, I'll probably be there looking at it. I'm not always going to respond, because sometimes it's just not worth responding to, but this appears to be a situation where I've been summoned. So let's go ahead and start breaking this one down. If you're not familiar with me and my presence on social media, I can be a bit of a polarizing figure. You can probably tell from the relative amounts of success that I get on my YouTube, my streams, both on YouTube and Twitch, and basically all the content that I produce, I have a pretty solid viewership. However, there are some individuals who are not very happy with me, the things that I say, how I say them, and the types of topical areas that I talk about. And Twitter, in my opinion, is one of those communities where you get to see that polarization firsthand. But the other thing you got to recognize about this platform is that it's the most virtue signaling one in the space, in that people will like posts, read them, give them views, but they'll never do anything afterwards. Because that's what it is. It's all surface level. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at this tweet over here and all of the topical areas, all of the events that have occurred that are leading up to this. The more I witness how absolutely brain dead the WuWa slander has gotten recently, the more I feel like Saint's existence is a necessary evil in the community. So the first thing that we gotta recognize off the bat, ladies and gentlemen, is that the natural intonation is that I'm apparently an evil person. I critique gacha games, and I tell you when I think that what a gacha game is doing is not good. That's essential. That's how you could summarize 95% of my content. And if that is something that is enough to consider me as evil, again, the word being used here is evil, go fuck yourself. Like, seriously, like, it's not that deep. Like, we're not on, like, the scale of, like, me embezzling funds from, like, octogenarians, or, like, I don't know, like, beating up a 10-year-old and then taking their lunch money. That's stuff that's, like, evil. And so, to equate criticizing gacha games to actually evil things, guys, that's how you're gonna get me fucking swatted, bro. Like, what are we even doing here? How are we even using this fucking word in the context of making YouTube videos about gacha games? Anyways, the main point over here is that I spent a lot of time on this part. We've got to talk about, however, this part. Because that's why this comment is even being made in the first place. That's why people are making posts like this, which in a way is positive PR. So let's take a look at the latest development in the Wuthering Waves space. As we've all seen over here, there's been a very, very popular post going around, talking about the Wuthering Waves launch story, talking about 1.x. There's this individual, Cattles, and there's some context that you need to get about this individual. They posted that the first main story quest is completed, and he's come to the conclusion that the game is not good at all, and its fan base is most definitely under mass psychosis. So the claim over here is that this person is calling everyone that likes Wuthering Waves mentally ill. You are getting called mentally ill by somebody that wants to fuck animals. You can probably recognize how a statement coming from somebody like that is a little ironic. This person also cannot afford a real copy of Windows in 2025 when keys on eBay are like $10. You can just buy a digital key on eBay for like $10. So they're a furry. They want to fuck animals, and they cannot afford a $10 Windows activation key. The chances of this person possessing a far more severe mental illness than anyone else that they could possibly be indicting is incredibly large. A 23-year-old unemployed, because if they were employed, they'd be able to afford to fix this shit, because this is just embarrassing in 2025. This is like, there's no other way to say on the internet that you are broke as fuck, that you are broke as shit, than to have this showing up in the corner of your goddamn monitor. They're probably also a story skipper. Let me see. Okay, how is this a sign that they're skipping the story? Oh, okay, never mind. So they just publicly posted that they also skipped massive portions of the story. Basically, any time that a certain character was on the screen, they skipped through it. Okay, so let's dissect and unpack what is going on over here. We're gonna have to take this piece by piece, because that's a lot of mental illness, and that's a lot of mental illness in a really small amount of time. So let's get this started. We all know that the Hoyoverse games are not really in a great spot right now, and those games happen to have a big player base, right? And one thing that we know for certain about these titles is that Honkai Star Rail 3.8 is literally possibly the worst version update in the history of gacha. The way that you know it's dog shit is that Mr. Pokey uploaded his react right after the live stream and got, I'm gonna be honest, no fucking views. Do you want to know how I know that this patch is bad, HSR's community hates it? Is because my reaction to 3.8, calling it a pile of dog shit, a complete failure, got 1.5x the views that Mr. Pokey, the Wuthering, the Honkai Star Rail guy, the guy on Hoyoverse's payroll, the guy that Hoyo literally sends exclusive packages to about HSR. I got more views on an HSR video than he did, on an HSR live stream react than he did, and I upload a video on this game like once a month because it's so bad. That's how you know this patch is dog shit. When the critiques are getting more views than the glazing. Because there's only so much you can lie to your audience before they stop taking you seriously. And anyone calling 3.8 the best update is clinically retarded. That's why I'm glad he put a question mark, because I think he's just obviously clickbaiting because he knows this is the worst update on the planet. I assume that because I've seen his tweets. But yeah, the clickbait didn't really work this time. So that's one situation where you're going to have Hoyoverse players flocking over to other titles. And one of those other titles is probably going to be Wuthering Waves. Because guess what, guys? This is a Hoyo player. Remember what I said about them wanting to fuck animals? Yeah, they want to fuck ban WuWa, bro. I'm sure there's plenty of other people that do that. But yeah, he's got some... Once again, it's just... That's... I don't want to look at this anymore. Anyways, that's one source of the reason for why so much mental illness is propagating the space at the moment. Here's another situation, ladies and gentlemen. And this one's going to be pretty simple. Everyone knows that this award is coming out. Everyone knows that this show is going to be arriving in the next few days. And everyone knows that Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and ZZZ were not nominated for Mobile Game of the Year. They weren't, because the games aren't good. And so, what can Hoyoverse players do to express their willingness to vote other than sabotage Wuthering Waves? Because this is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when Hoyo isn't in the Game Awards. And we've got another notch to add onto this tree. They first started off with creating drama surrounding Senpai, a Japanese honorific that's basically the same as boss, sir, ma'am. And then applying sexual undertones to it to try to spread the narrative that WuWa is a gooner game, preying on the degeneracies of its players. That literally got a Japanese politician involved who just had to say, what is wrong with these Hoyoverse players? That's basically the core of his message. Then you got this situation over here where you had more Hoyoshills because they can't vote for Genshin. They decided to play WuWa on the lowest graphical settings, and then they got community noted for it, much like how the Senpai person got community noted for it. Then they tried creating a false narrative about Mornier's art being AI by performing AI on it itself and then running it through another checker. And then that got called out in the community notes. And then, well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? JP also got wind of that with one of their biggest gaming news websites, 1.8 million views, all of that, ladies and gentlemen. They covered it as well. And their summary of it chills down the spine. Again, the question is, what is wrong with these people? Why are they so mentally ill? And why do they care so much about these awards? Is the idea that Wuthering Waves could get an award and Genshin could not, it's causing people to literally commit crimes. Because at this point, I'm pretty sure this is breaking at least one law somewhere, especially this one on the very right. Like, I genuinely think, like, it's just the juice isn't worth the squeeze. This is, like, literally a crime. I'm 90, like, I think if you did, like, just do this with, like, a regional company in, like, your area, right? Imagine you did this for, like, McDonald's, and then the tweet went viral. Brother, I think you would go to jail within like a week. No lie. So that's all things that have occurred. This is all stuff that's happened in the past week. And now on top of that, you got this. A mass, probably botted in terms of engagement, right? This Cattle's online tweet, all of this garbage, right? They're talking about claiming that every player of it is mentally ill, when the only mentally ill person in this equation has to be this individual, because, like, you're a furry who skips the story, who's literally too broke to buy a $10 Windows key, and has openly admitted to criticizing and saying a story is bad, and that everyone who likes it is mentally ill, when you've already admitted to skipping massive portions of it. So you butchered your story experience by skipping all of it, then said it was bad, then said everyone that enjoyed it is mentally ill, as a 23-year-old unemployed furry who only plays Hoyoverse games and is only here because all of their Hoyoverse games are currently awful. Because guess what, guys? Zenless Zone Zero is also in one of the worst states it's ever been. Yeah. Huh. 2.x really saved the game, guys. Hey, that's why after 2.x dropped right here, you saw that viewership increase. It's literally just gone down ever since.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, brother. 2.x was amazing. 2.x has the best story ever.
That's why when you look up story in ZZZ subreddits, all you see are people critiquing how dog shit the story is. Spook Shack, dog shit. Version 2.5, it's dog shit, so they need to do this to fix it up. Any good lore YouTubers? No, because the lore is dog shit, so nobody wants to make content on it. Miyabi and Section 6 being no-show since 2.0 is weird. The more they try to force the new Void Hunter on me, the less I like her. Guys, this game's story has been possibly the worst story in Gacha for the past couple of months. And there's a massive amount of explanation that you can see over here. Because what else is causing nobody to want to watch or play this game? It's gotta be... I refuse to believe that the combat and the events in this game are so bad that it's just been bleeding players every month. I don't think it's that bad. I actually think the combat can be very fun. The reason why I quit is because this is literally the worst story experience I've had in a gacha game before. To see the scope, the plot, everything just be shit. Ever since they went to fucking ZZZ China, it's been bad. And when you know that this person is trying to openly critique WuWa's story, call everyone that likes it mentally ill, when they enjoy ZZZ's story, is insane. ZZZ, guys, I'm not gonna go ahead and say that WuWa is like a Michelin star restaurant when it comes to a story. Guys, ZZZ is like fucking Taco Bell. WuWa might not be a Michelin star place, but it ain't no fucking Taco Bell. And these guys that are saying Taco Bell is gourmet is telling you that a 5-star restaurant like WuWa, it's only for the mentally ill. Brother, I can't do this as a check. If there's somebody trying to critique a story and they love ZZZs, block them. They're fucking stupid. They have to be one of the dumbest individuals in the gacha space. Because one thing the community literally unilaterally agrees on is how fucking bad the story has gotten. So yeah, don't take this garbage seriously. And I guess now I'm beginning to see, right? Now I'm beginning to see why there are so many individuals who are, let's just be honest here, they're singing their praises for me. Because it's fair to say that there's not a lot of content creators in the space who are willing to just get their hands dirty and say the things that need to be said. Because there's something fucking wrong with this guy, okay? Like, I'm just gonna be honest, a lot of people, they might be like pussyfooting, right? And being like, trying to be all like corrected. There's something wrong with this fucking dude. So don't put any value into what he's saying. He's a fucking freak. That'll be our summary of the situation. That's everything that's going on over here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought. And peace out.